Bezrat Hashem Chavra, the Kavod, the Heilige Shabbos, 4 days until Shabbos, 11 until Kislev. Feel the niggin, the Kislev niggin in the air. Feel the lights of Hanukkah. Forgot to change the background. Chazak background, Bezrat Hashem tomorrow. 34 days until Hanukkah. 34 days. 34 days. Or Ein Sof. All we have is right now. Let's attach Sof right now. Atfil B'Shem Kol Yisrael. For Pesach, Reuven ben Zara, Baruch Bas Yehudis, Yonah Bas Basa, Shir Bas Basa, Sinai, Reuven ben Mani, and every Neshama in Klal Yisrael. Loving God, help us clear our minds in our thoughts of ideas and theories that are in conflict with the Torah, so that we should not sully our intelligence and sensitivity with sinful thoughts and desires, or sour our mind with erroneous theories. Free us of all doubts and skepticism, and let our minds and our thoughts be pure, clear, and holy. Give us the strength to fight against the bad thoughts, doubts, and sinful desires that come to confuse us. Let us keep them out of our mind entirely. Let us fight them down and drive them away completely. Let them have no power to enter our consciousness at all, and let us sanctify our minds and our thoughts at all times. Bezrat Hashem. Chavar halakha l'maisa. One who is not home at home, who is not. Let's start again. Rewind. L'chaim, chavar. L'chaim. Chavra, it's like the Rishon's shoes, or we throw a Rishon. His shoes. This was like his boots, and the sole. There was no sole, and he would have to keep the cup in this position, and the sole would be open, and his feet. He'd be walking on the ground in the nails in the glass, and feel the pain underneath. Wow. So I guess we're gonna should we just keep it like this? I think we're gonna keep it like this, Chavra. All right. This is okay. We got the Chiddush. L'chaim. Wow. Start again. Reborn again. Return again. One who is not at home on a night of Hanukkah, but in another location, if he knows that his wife, Bezrat Hashem by all of us, is lighting the menorah in his home, then he should light where he is, but without reciting the blessings. If possible, it would be good if he hears the blessings before he lights from someone else who's lighting there, and he should have in mind to fulfill his obligation with that person's blessings and respond with Amen, and thus fulfill any possible obligation to recite a blessing, and he should then light without reciting the blessings. If his wife is not lighting in his home, and likewise unmarried young men who board by their host, these persons must light and recite the blessings. Alternatively, they may partner with their host by giving him any coin of even a small denomination, such as a peruta. So they also have a share in the oil and the wick. In this case, the host should add a bit of oil to the required amount for the partner. However, although they may partner with another, they should endeavor to light on their own. And one who is in a city, but in another house, he is not at home and must return home to light when the time of lighting arrives. A lot of footnotes here. Bezrat Hashem, there's a lot to go over. But Bezrat Hashem, we should all be home. We should all be home. The time of lighting. Okay. So we're halakha l'maisa. Chavra, chapter 1, Mishna 5. Crazy stuff. We're on our 6th Zoom for Pirkei Avot, Baruch Hashem. And this is new. This is mamish new. And we're on page 36 in the breast of Pirkei Avot, Lamed Vav Sadikim. Bezrat Hashem, Chavra, let's dive in. And this is a little more chill tonight. Got the Chavruta action going on, Baruch Hashem. And right, let's just let this sink in our hearts. So that means we could go for all the stories and all the connections, or maybe not. Yossi ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalayim Omer, Yihi beitecha patuach lirvacha. Right? We'll do the Hebrew and the English now that we're into it. V'yu aniyim b'nei beitecha. Ve'al tarbeh sicha im ha'isha. V'ishto amru kal v'chomer be'eshet chaviro mikan amru chachamim kol zman she'adam marbeh sicha im ha'isha gorem ra'a la'atzmo uvotel midivrei Torah v'sofo yoresh gehenem. Chavra, this is very strong lashon, but it's the most beautiful Mishna I think we ever learned. Mamash. A lot of these sort of going on. I don't know if we're gonna discuss all of them, but just the English translation. Yossi ben Yochanan of Jerusalem said, "Let your home be open wide. Let your home be open wide. Avram Avinu, and let the poor become members of your household." Ravinu. But do not engage in excessive small talk with a woman. If this was said of one own's wife, how much more so of another man's wife? Therefore, our sages declared, whoever engages in excessive small talk with a woman brings evil upon himself, neglects the study of Torah, and in the end will inherit Gehenna. Very strong lashon at the end. Bezrat Hashem, we should be right now. We should be here right now. Be here right now, Reggie Epstein. So whatever comes to the mind and the heart, it will be said. So let your home be open. There's a story that connects to Rav Shlomo Karbach that I once read in Holy Brother. I got to get the page. I got to reread the story, refresh it. Kitzer, the story goes like this. Rav Shlomo went to Beverly Hills one time to give a concert, and the concert was only able to be held on Friday morning or Friday at around noon. Shabbos is coming in a little earlier, so Rav Shlomo was obviously making the calculations when Shabbos coming in if he had time to perform, because Rav Shlomo was not just a Jewish musician. He was someone who was able to connect to all people of all walks of life. So he was performing at this music festival on a Friday afternoon, Friday at noon, something like that, Mashu Kazeh, in front of thousands of people. And he was set to eat and sleep at, I think I don't know if it was Chabad, but one informal Chabad, but the Rabbi of Beverly Hills and his wife for Shabbos. And it wasn't such a big community over there, a religious community. So Rav Shlomo performs Geshmak, and Chavra, this is where the story begins. So let's open up our hearts. So Rav Shlomo knew he was eating at the Rebbe's house Friday night, And before he went off to the concert, he asked the Rebbe if he was able to host or able to invite people from the concert back to dinner. And the rabbi said, of course, expecting, a couple people, maybe even 10 people. Rav Shlomo was a famous guy, famous rabbi. So Rav Shlomo, after his performance, he was the first one to perform because of the Holy Shabbos. So he gets up there on the mic in front of thousands of people, and he said, "Holy Chevra, so we're about to bring in the Holy Shabbos, and I'm eating at so and so's house." Gives the address, and he says that everyone at this concert is welcome for Friday night dinner. And we're talking about thousands of people who are not, or we're putting on, as Moshe likes to tell us, keeping Shabbos less, putting tefillin on less, or putting tefillin on more. The whole thing, or not even Jewish, the whole thing, everyone's there. And they hear this Rebbe who mamash just open up their hearts, invite them for a Friday night experience. So Rav Shlomo is walking back with hundreds of people. I think the final count in the book was like around 400, 500 people. So imagine this little house in Beverly Hills, or maybe it wasn't so little in Beverly Hills. 400, 500 people coming back. The host, the rabbi, was like just in shock. Like, just no words. There's no words. You have 405 people flocking down the street. The Rebbitzin is, obviously the first thought that comes to mind. We don't have enough food. So they actually had a religious Shomer Shabbos, next door neighbor, who they combined meals with that family, and that family brought over their food, and it was mamish. The way the story describes it, they had a table, obviously, that went outside. People were standing outside, sitting outside. It was you couldn't move inside. Every single plate had like a tiny like morsel of like fish, a tiny morsel of chicken, and mamish was the most simchadik meal in the world. It was the highest experience, the most holy experience in the world. Whoever was there, mamish, it was the physical was there, was mamish uplifted to the highest heights. But it just seemed from reading the story, it was all sold. Like 500 people coming to experience Shabbos. So, anyways, let your home be open, says the Mishna. Let your home be open wide, and let the poor become members of your household. Now, let the poor become members of your household. There's a lot to go in here. Just the idea of like opening up your home, and it says here, the breast of oral tradition. In the breast of Pirkei Avot, on page 37, it says the Rebbe's intention, Rabbi Nachman's intentions, Rabbi Nachman's intentions was that you don't have to go overboard. Just do what you can do to honor your guest. You don't have to do the 500 people thing every single week, but some weeks it may be fun. But don't go overboard. Just do what you can do to honor your guests. And obviously, we have roommates, we have husbands and wives. So obviously, it's not just yourself. So, what else? I mean, we're chilling over here. I was letting this sink in. Rabbi Nachman says in the Avot book, the Avot book, Sefer Amido, I believe. Yeah. Receiving guests is comparable to receiving Shabbos. Very interesting saying from Rav Nachman. So, anyways, let the poor become members of your household, but do not engage in excessive small talk with a woman. So Rav Nachman says, and this is we have to keep the let the poor become members of your household in mind, in check. And Rabbi Nachman says like this, that in times of the Holy Temple, contact with the dead was the impurity. But nowadays, impure thoughts is the primary source of impurity. Now it says here in a pasuk in Proverbs, charity saves from death. Charity saves from death. So remember, this is where we need to open up our hearts much deeper. Charity saves from unwanted thoughts as well. Since discussions with the opposite sex can lead to these thoughts, the Mishnah offers a solution to this problem. Let the poor become members of your household. This is a high level of charity. right? Giving the charity to the poor, let the poor become members of your household, right? And this is the tikkun for the impure forces. As such, it will protect from improper thoughts and fantasies which might result even from those discussions with the opposite sex in which it is necessary to engage. This is why the Mishnah connects the two subjects, and this is also based on the Kutei Maran, volume 1, 242. We have to check, we have to go through that. I'm sure, it's a lot there. Tzedakah, Tzedek, Mishpat. So a lot of connections with tzedakah. Yeah. Also, one more thing. Now that we're on together, I would just say this: a nice story, because it talks about here. Anyone who converses excessively with a woman causes evil to himself, neglects Torah study, will eventually inherit Gehenna. And it also says here, but do not engage in excessive small talk with a woman, and this is said of one own's wife. So what's going on here? So the R scroll talks about, Koster of Hirsch, and talks about like the purity versus impurity, when this really applies, when the woman is in a time of impurity. But it also talks about a husband and wife relationship, really relationships between people through this story. So wherever we are, whatever stage of life we're in, let this story connect to our lives. So a fascinating letter written by Rav Kiva Eger after his wife's death sheds light on our Mishnah, the Mishnah that we just learned. He wrote to his children in response to the proposal that he remarry. Do you consider me so insensitive and heartless as to rush to accept the marriage proposal while still in mourning? Says Rav Kiva Eger. Am I to forget the love of the beloved wife of my youth, with whom God allowed me to raise upstanding, blessed children? The little bit of Torah in me is only due to her help. She carefully kept over my health and bore all the financial worries of her home, so that I would not be distracted from the service of God. Now that she is gone, I am bereft and emotionally like a broken vessel. Who will pasture our young sheep, meaning children? With whom shall I share my worries and find some respite? Who will care for me? Which human being knows better than I of her righteousness and modesty? Many times we held deep discussions on topics related to the fear of heaven until the middle of the night. And this is quoting Igros Forum on page 65. So it really just talks about the marital relationship between a husband and wife, and what really matters, the etzem, but really between people as well, right? Just giving us a little insight into our relationship. So allow that story to sit with us, and really whatever relationships we can take to the next level, we should be zocha to understand that every single person is a story. You should really know this, Mamish. Every single person is a story, meaning it's always the beginning, it's always the introduction. From Rabbi Nachman's teachings in Sichot Oran that all of Rabbi Nachman's teachings are introductions, says Rav Nassan. Every single person's introduction. We should be seeing that at all times. B'ezrat Hashem, we should have those eyes. We should have those clean eyes, the eyes of the Eis Chaim. Chavra, B'ezrat Hashem, fired up. Sorry for the long Zoom, and we'll continue tomorrow.